Endosymbiotic Love Calendar is a project that interestingly brings two groups that normally in the real world, whatever, is seen to be quite distinct, looking at specific microorganisms, discussing their morphology, how they act in the body, how they act out of the body, if they have reservoirs. And the artists are taking all of that information and embody it in a way. This is going to end up being a calendar.
Do you think this project has anything to do with climate change? And if so, how?
Looking at the smaller, finer details of the world remind us of the impact that we have on it, the world. They don't have the intention of destroying, they just want to live and thrive. And I think that's the same with humans, but we're just a bit silly about it now.
Leishmania, for example, needs the sandfly. The way that they travel changes the way that the disease will travel because the parasites are living in them. So with climate change, these insects that before wouldn't be able to survive and thrive in, I don't know, some European countries, for example, are starting to. So that's like a very obvious link between one of the parasites that we're working on with climate change. So I think that's a very boring answer, but yeah.
Well, no,
that's the scariest answer I've heard.
Learn from Leishmania, who looks after their host and takes them to Europe and goes around the world.
The drug science community, in my opinion, maybe doesn't target some of these tropical diseases as much as diseases that are more prevalent in the Western world that has money. Because obviously you're going to have to make the drug cheaper, you're going to have to make the drug, be able to be carried around without fridges, things like that. So it becomes a more difficult target. And yeah, I think that's all got to do with what part of the world the people are, who's suffering. Can they afford this? Can the government afford this? It's quite interesting how there's lots of tropical diseases or tropical medicine that's done in areas that's not affected by these diseases at all. So it's so to me personally, sometimes it comes across as taking charge of another community's healthcare or their future.
I think it feels a bit like colonial almost, of just white people take over and take control, and we can come and save you, but you'll have to pay this. Oh, we can't, sorry. I think climate change is such an intersectional issue. I'm passionate about accessibility and who is in the room, that I don't really. So I've tried to make sure that I'm not always talking to an echo chamber of mostly just queer, white, non-disabled people. And so I've tried to kind of steer my work away from that and enter spaces that wouldn't necessarily see my art or be able to engage with art as a whole. I honestly think my work is in relation to climate change because I'm constantly trying to change the world and address people in that way.
Climate justice and social justice are so interlinked that if you address social issues, you will automatically address climate issues.
Arts in general is a way to get out of your comfort zone, and this is exactly kind of what we're doing. And scientists definitely out of their comfort zone, and maybe getting artists and performers out of their regular comfort zones. The arts and science together and the new world it creates, which is fabulous. And also bring up conversation about those specific microorganisms.
Thank you very much for tuning in. And